Welcome on into the Skolcial Network. I'm Jason Harmon, joined by my co-host Beanie Brevin Bain. I think that's the one piece of Vikings gear I've ever seen you wear. That I've seen you
Yeah,
wear.
yeah, that's fair.
When I first met you in person, and I say first, I mean the only time, RIP TGA Fridays, you were in a wild beanie in a wild jersey. It was wild, to say the least.
It was very wild. I didn't really think about it when I was putting my clothes on, as I do in the morning. But I'm really excited to discuss the election results here today.
Yeah, I think, obviously we hold the same opinion that most of our viewers do and are either, with them and being extremely upset or extremely happy, because that's how content creation works when you talk about football.
Yes.
Whatever your individual opinion is, assume ours is exactly the same. And from that, let's talk ball. Brev, we are in week 10. I kind of, as you reminded me, it's week 10.
Yeah.
We started this the couple days before free agency started,
hmm
and now we're in week 10.
Crazy. We are officially past halfway of the season, of the
Yeah,
regular
and
season.
yeah, I was gonna say, and possibly playoffs. Right now, I think I said this the other day, but I'll reiterate. I believe if the season ended today, the Vikings would be due to come to me here in Arizona. Hopefully, uh, my theory that Detroit has exposed too much of their playbook comes true as they enter what I believe is going to be a more challenging portion of their schedule than some of what they faced. Um, and could possibly lose some games. And maybe we can have a home playoff game.
That's the beauty of our gauntlet being the first, well, not the first, but the second, third, fourth, and fifth week of the year. Well, second, third, and fourth.
Yeah, they are entering not immediately. They have the Texans, which should still be a
Mhm.
challenging game. The Jags, the Colts, the Bears, count those as 3 wins. So they could be at 2 wins after this week, or 2 losses after this weekend in theory. Then they have the Packers again, the Bills, the Bears, then the Niners, and then us. So I think remaining schedule wise, I think they get a couple more losses if we can keep our stuff together. I think we could be battling for the vision in week 18 still. It's going to take basically a perfect run from the Vikes to make that happen.
Well, that puts all the emphasis now, and I'm sure we'll talk more about it here in a minute, but puts all the emphasis now on that the Vikings, this 3 week run, we, even before the year and before we knew we were going to start 5-0, like this is the part of the schedule that we were like, all right, you're probably going to win most of these games. You talking about this 3 week stretch against the South, you beat Indy, so now you got to clean up against the Macsonville Jaguars. Ooh, that was a domer, and the Tennessee Titans. So because now like the end of our schedules, well, toward the end of our schedules now, kind of sneaky difficult. So
I think those last 2 weeks were obviously difficult. We
yeah.
didn't know much about the Falcons or Seahawks, what they would actually be. The Seahawks are very, very up and down.
hmm
The Falcons are definitely getting better.
Yeah.
But we are, officially out of Kirktober. So
Thank God.
I know they won the other day, but he had a strip sack, things like that. There
hmm
were still some signs that the Kirktober vibes had ended. So we'll see what Kirkvember looks like and what that matchup ends up being next month. But one thing I want to point out is we always knew this would be a stretch where it should be wins going against Anthony Richardson, Trevor Lawrence, and Will Levis. Uh, it still should be wins, even though now we're against Joe Flacco. Mac Jones seems to be 99% shoe in to start Sunday. And then Mason Rudolph is would be running for Tennessee, I think. It seems to be the vibe. Um, Now, the big thing this week to look out for, the Vikings should win, and in my opinion, this should be the game where they absolutely cook a team. I know people said that about week one with the Giants, but the Giants' defense is pretty middle of the pack. The Jags have the second worst overall defense in the NFL when it comes to yards allowed per game and total offense against them, trailing only the Panthers by about 2.5 yards, allowing 389.3 yards per game on average, and allowing a league, again, second in the league in touchdowns allowed at 30. Should we kick as much ass as most Vikings fans expect, or do you think we'll just inevitably get trapped in a classic Vikings game?
Well, the last time we saw Mac Jones was Thanksgiving of 2022, and that Patriots team, I mean, on paper, the Jaguars aren't that bad offensively. They're actually, I like them on paper offensively. Shout out to them for the left tackle, but there's always going to be, it feels like it should go without saying, that Vikings fan in me that's just like, okay, this team is so much obviously, or so obviously much not as good as the Vikings, and this should be a shellacking. And I feel like every week that I've said that Minnesota should blow a team out, either they don't and they win close, or they lose. So I don't want to say they should blow Jacksonville out, even though that's the very obvious truth, because then I feel like if I say that, it's my fault and everybody can blame me. So, no, we shouldn't blow them out.
I will track with your logic. I mean, here's my counterpoint is when you look at Jacksonville's schedule despite these things.
Yeah.
They've played some close games.
They have.
Against some good teams. I'm trying to bring it up here. Going back to the start of the season, they only lost to a healthy Dolphins team by 3. They lost to the Browns. That's embarrassing. They did lose to the Bills by 37, so I think maybe we could expect that. They lost to Houston by 4. They lost to the Bears by 19. That's rough. They lost to the Packers by 3 and the Eagles by 5. So this team could really just show up in any way. But when you're looking at the points they've allowed, Packers scored 30, Eagles scored 28, Pats only scored 16, Bears scored 35, Colts scored 34, held the Texans down relatively, 24 points, Bills 47. So it seems like those defensive rankings are some games they just play kind of league average, and some games they just get their asses handed to them. I think this team has no excuse not to, other than the fact that it's just what we deal with. Now, I want to address the first thing you said, because I'm going to lose my mind seeing this all over Twitter, and you're not even on Twitter, and you said it, and it's making me so mad. I was at that game where Mac Jones cooked the defense 2 years ago against Ed Donatel, and I pointed out on Twitter, and a few people were like, that's fair. We're like, oh man, we're playing Mac Jones. We suck against backups. Well, we just beat a backup last week with the same argument that Joe Flacco cooked us last time we played him, apparently, whenever that was. And that argument, I think, is already dead. And then the argument that, well, he beat us in 2022. Okay, well, let's look at, again, who was the defensive coordinator, who was on the roster. And also, you know who else cooked us in 2022? At least once? Aaron Rodgers. Guess what we did to him a few weeks ago? You know who else cooked us in 2022? Daniel Jones, to the point where he got a massive contract. Guess who handled him just fine? Blake Cashman and Ivan Pace are both listed as questionable, but Cashman did say to media today that he fully expects to be out there. So we should be able to, and they don't have their starting left tackle anymore because we have him. Like, there's no, this isn't 2022. If we let Mac Jones go out there and replicate his performance from 2022, we need to be having serious conversations about Brian Flores' ability to adjust after 1 month of football.
Yeah.
My rant is over.
Yeah, logically speaking, me saying Mac Jones played well against the Vikings in 2022 has no negative weight to an actual argument for why Minnesota would potentially lose this game. Also, small correction, I believe you misspoke, just to clear up any confusion of the audience, you said the Patriots beat us in 2022. They didn't.
I didn't
But
say they beat. I didn't mean to say they beat us.
yeah, I
Sorry,
know.
I meant saying I
You
was
played
obviously
well.
at that game. We won.
Yeah.
They did not beat us on Thanksgiving. I was there. They did have a chance to potentially, I think, go down and tie or win the game at the end because I know I have a video on my phone of him throwing a
Yep.
ball 40 yards downfield to midfield with no coverage, and the guy goes down and the clock just runs out.
Yeah.
So,
And I know
no,
you
we
know
did
that.
win that game. Yes.
I know you know
I
that. I
can't
just wanna
believe
make it
I
clear.
slipped up on that. Now we
It's
got to
okay.
can the whole recording.
No, it's all good. You were just speaking kind of. I just, for the viewers' sake, obviously, you know, you were there. We won. We all know that. For the viewers' sake, this week especially, I just wanted you to be on the right side of history. That's it. So, with that being said, yeah, there's no logic at all whatsoever to Mac Jones playing well against an awful defense that just happened to also be a Vikings defense that he will play well this week. I think that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah.
Mac Jones
I'm
sucks.
so mad I said they beat us. I meant I just got on a tangent and it slipped
It was
out.
very minor. It was very minor.
I know when this video goes live, there's gonna be somebody the second I say that who's like, they didn't beat us in all caps. And then you're
Yeah.
gonna address it and I'm gonna be like, oops, didn't mean to say that.
Low
All right,
key,
well,
it was
anyways.
so minor that even if I didn't mention it, it might not have been caught.
All good. Well, thank you for making me question all ball knowledge that I
You're welcome.
have.
That's my job.
The fact that I could inadvertently slip up is so embarrassing. You know, I remember that game deeply, much like the playoff game I went to against the Giants that we won.
Yes.
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 Yeah, doubling
Uh,
down.
What a job by
With
Kirk to throw it past the first down marker.
Yeah, I'm really glad that we converted that fourth down by throwing it to Justin Jefferson in double coverage down the sideline, and he broke free just like he did for his first touchdown in the NFL and scored a game-winning TD. It was really great to be there. Interesting fact here. So looking at their defense, and Vikings PR put this out on Twitter. This is the most 100 plus receiving yard games in a player's first 6 seasons. Who do you think has the most all time in first 6 seasons? You don't have to think that hard outside our team, is what I'll say, historically.
Charles Johnson.
Oh, BC Johnson. Very close.
Oh,
Yes.
I knew it was there.
Randy, in 6 seasons, played 96 games and had 38 games of over 100 receiving yards. And he was fine.
He was decent.
Calvin Johnson played 6 seasons, 92 games. He had 32 games in that span. Jerry Rice had 32 in 6 and 92. Torrey Holt had 33, 6 seasons, so 96 games for him. Julio Jones had 3,500 plus yard receiving games in his first 6 years. That's somebody who gets at his peak. He was just a Madden cheat code and then really fell off. Justin Jefferson has 32. 8 games into his 5th season, having only played 68 games. Meaning, in the next year and a half, all he needs is six 100-yard receiving performances to tie Randy Moss all time. I think if he stays healthy, he'll probably do that.
I think he might tie that this year. Like it's not crazy to say.
As long as he does it before the last month of next year.
Yeah.
So that people can't be like, well, he's had an extra game every year. Doesn't matter. He played, and I love that's why they put the amount of games on there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, we're 6-2. This is gonna be week. This is gonna be the 9th game. So we still have 8 more games. Like that's,
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
How many did Randy have in how many games?
I think 38.
38 and how many you said?
In 96 games. Justin Jefferson has played 68 games. So in theory,
ladies and gentlemen, that is
28
bonkers.
games different. 28 game difference. Because remember, he didn't play the first 2.5, 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm. That's like I really just want to drive it home, and I'm trying to turn down on my cuss word usage. So just in case you don't realize how ridiculous that is, that's asinine. that is a stat.
Correct.
Yes.
I look, everybody knows in the Vikings community, and I think most reasonable people in the NFL know, like, Justin Jefferson's like one of the best receivers in football. No, he is potentially, and receiver's such a tough one because you can have a receiver who has a crap ton of touchdowns, but he's a red zone merchant and doesn't have a lot of yards or targets, right? Like, you can have all these different, is it purely yards? For me, I put more weight on yards because that moves you closer to the end zone, where in the red zone you can rely on other players. Like, that receiver picks up massive chunks of yardage to move you down the field, which is the ultimate goal, to improve your shot at getting touchdowns. I say all that because since he doesn't have as many touchdowns or historically as some other top receivers, people kind of downplay his skill and call him a yards merchant. It's a game of chess. You want to move across the board, and he moves you to where you need to be. And I think that when you think about that, there's potentially no one better than him in the history of the game, is at least what we're pacing for. And dude, I swear, this is the third generational talent I've gotten to witness on the Vikings in just my lifetime. And that's like taking out like weird guys like Favre who came in, stuff like that. But like absolutely once in a generation caliber players between Moss, Peterson, and Jefferson.
Mama said he got all those generational talents, but no Super Bowl rings.
I'm well aware.
Yeah.
And that's what drives me crazy is how does this keep happening?
I don't know. Yeah, I think people need to realize that more. It's not just Viking fandom, but like, and it's not just a now thing. It's been since he started his career. And as it goes on, the case just gets stronger and stronger and stronger. Justin Jefferson is literally on pace to be the best wide receiver of all time. Like, that's not on pace, only means so much, but the sample size of the games he's played, the amount of games he's played, the efficiency he's shown, the production he's shown, Justin Jefferson is on pace to be the best wide receiver in NFL history. Just needs rings.
Yep. And other people will debate that because he might not have as many touchdowns or things like that. And like, I don't care.
Touchdowns, like, there is not many more useless stats than touchdowns when talking about wide receivers. There's really not. Like, they're cool, but touchdowns.
Who cares where you catch the ball? Like,
yeah.
You caught the ball and moved it. Like, if you get in, great. If you don't, you still did the damn thing at a high level.
Yeah, Jalen Naylor is going to have like a good amount of touchdowns this year, and he's like not that good. So it just doesn't really matter. It's cool to score, but.
Somebody on Twitter just posted Jaguars week with a video of Kirk Cousins throwing a pick six to a linebacker from the Jags. I'm trying to remember what year this was. Was this COVID? I don't see anyone on the sidelines.
Yeah,
He's
we
targeting
played them.
Dalvin Cook. Yeah, and he just threw a pick six directly to them. Yeah,
last time
great.
we played them was COVID year. That was the last time we played them, right? I think we win by a field goal.
Was that the BB punt redemption game?
That was the Panthers.
That was the Panthers.
I think the Panthers game was either like right before or right after. I think it was right after that game. A couple weeks.
That season is a blur.
That season's
anyways.
That's Andy Dalton Cowboys too, smashing watermelons in the locker room. Mike McCarthy.
Anyways, Justin Jefferson is really damn good, and
breaking news.
The Jags just, I don't know if their defense can keep up. I think I forgot the dude's name. Their safety, who hasn't played all year, is probably set to premiere Sunday. But like, I'm not currently moved. Watch this guy have 3 pick sixes. But Cashman coming back will be huge. What do you think? Like, a lot of people have tried to put this into words, but like, what do you expect to see if Cashman is in there and healthy? Like, what do you expect this defense to look? How will it look different than maybe what we've seen in the last month? Other than just, we'll get more sacks. Like, what will fundamentally change about the execution?
I think there will just very obviously be more cohesion in the middle side of the middle part of the field. Communication will be, I don't want to say communication will be improved, but everybody's just kind of back on the same page. Because if you're losing somebody like Blake Cashman, it's like you're losing the interpreter you're somewhat kind of relying on to make you pass your test for speaking Spanish. That didn't make any sense at all, but I think everybody knows what I'm saying.
I don't even know what you're saying.
Blake Cashman important. He make all call on defense. He good. Go Vikings. Go Vikings.
Endorsed.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Careful.
Why? What? I said like
Endorsed? I can't remember.
what?
They lost. Be careful.
Who are you?
Just gotta be careful with that.
Anyways, I have no idea what's going on. I was endorsing you saying Skull Vikings.
Again,
But
you said it again.
oh yes, I can't use the word endorsement anymore. I forgot.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of being endorsed,
Knock
how
on the
about you
door.
go ahead and endorse smelling good with Dr. Squatch?
I love endorsing. Please don't knock down my door. Dr. Squatch is good. I use it in the shower and on the deodorant time. It is good for me, and it can be good for you too. If you feel like man, smell like Skolcial, you can use link description. Save 10 off 20 first order.
Wow,
Help us
incredible.
help you. Smell good, smell nice.
Okay, Borat. Um, Also, if you haven't caught a Vikings game yet, there is still time, especially as the playoff race ramps up. Ticket prices will probably ramp up also. Suddenly, that Kirk Cousins versus JJ McCarthy projection from before the season started is now Kirk Cousins and Sam Darnold battling for playoff positioning in December. That game might get flexed. There's some rumors. There's rumors of every game getting flexed at this point in the season, so don't take that as gospel. But if you'd like to see your very, very good, positive team going on with the Minnesota Vikings in a year where we didn't expect to have a lot of positive things going on, go ahead and use SeatGeek to buy yourself some tickets if you haven't already. Use code Brev or code JasonH for $20 off your first purchase. And if you follow Brev's advice and you smell good on the way there, even better, because there's nothing worse than somebody with stinky pits leading the skull chant next to you. Nobody likes that.
It's kind of beautiful because you can kind of bundle it together if you use both of what we endorse. And if because you save 20 off the SeatGeek, then you can spend the 20 on Dr. Squatch and then get 10 off that. So like you're getting $20 off and then like free Dr. Squatch if you think about it.
In a real sense, it's an infinite money glitch.
I miss being in sales.
Yeah.
I
Even though you
don't.
can only use it on your first time. And I am a sales coach, so this works out perfectly. That's what you'll have to do if you don't use Dr. Squatch. Anyways, moving on.
Musty.
What is your score prediction? Actually, I want to ask one question. Do you think, I haven't checked the actual official weather yet, but do you foresee, and this has been claimed to be an issue for teams at different points, especially in like November coming from a cold area. Do you, for any reason, see like humidity playing a factor, or any of the outdoor Florida game curse coming to be a problem this Sunday?
I mean, yeah, it could be because humidity sucks, but these are grown men that will probably get over it because they're paid millions of dollars to play football in the heat. I
It's
would think
80 degrees with 79% humidity
that's
and
not bad.
12-mile-per-hour winds.
That's not that bad.
I don't do humidity, brother.
Why no? Oh yeah, Arizona's dry heat, isn't it?
Yes. But
Yeah,
that sounds like my nightmare.
I mean it's not optimal, but that's not like 80 degrees and the 79 humidity with the wind. Like that's not bad. They're fine.
All right. Oh no, you see people talk about how these Florida teams have advantages and should be required to play in domes, and I'm like, I think that's a little excessive, but maybe that's just me.
Sounds never mind.
I don't even want to know where you were going.
Keeping
Nope,
that
knock it
anonymous.
up. Knock it off. What is your score prediction for Sunday?
34-19 Vikings. Go Vikings. I love the Vikings.
I'm gonna keep saying that we're eventually gonna score 40 points. I don't know if it'll be this game, but I'm just gonna go ahead and say 41-24.
Garbage time points, 24.
A little bit. I think maybe. I mean, here's the point, and we talked about this the other day. But like people keep like Kevin O'Connell, like he can't score in the fourth quarter. We've actually been not terribly disappearing in the fourth quarter. We just don't do anything in the second and third. And as of last week, apparently not in the first either. So actually, no, we did do stuff in the second and third, the third and fourth last week. We just can't. We only play at a max 2 quarters of football. Typically, the middle quarters go by the wayside. I'm hoping we can finally get a complete game. Finally. Like people forget because they just think of the back half of that Packers game and how out of hand things got and almost bit us in the ass. We started that game up, what, 28-0?
Yes.
And that, even with their defense banged up, that's still better than a lot of what Jacksonville's throwing out there. Like it is possible. This team can blow a team out. It's not just wishful thinking or biased thinking. Just haven't seen it happen yet. I think this is the best chance you have at doing that the entire season. Because looking at just a couple other things, total defense, the Titans have the number 1 ranked total defense, and we go to play them next week. Passing defense, Titans have the number 1 ranked passing defense. Jaguars is 31st. Rushing defense, Titans are number 11. The Colts are not Colts, pardon me. The Jaguars, I believe, are 16. Sorry. Scoring defense. So how often the defense is actually giving up touchdowns. Bump, bump, bump. Oh, wait, hold on. Is scoring defense how the average amount of points they're giving up, or is it how...
Yes.
Yes, okay, go with points allowed average. I was making sure because I also saw somebody just go to bat on defense, and I was like, am I getting gaslit or am I stupid? Saying it's the defense's ability to actually score themselves, and I was like, that makes no sense. So just making sure. The Jags are 30th, allowing an average of 28 offensive points a game against them. Red zone defense. This one is interesting because the Titans are 26th, the Jags are 30th. So apparently, if you can get to the red zone against the Titans next week, we'll be fine. Third down defense. The Titans are second in the league behind only the Lions. The Jags are 26th. So they give up a first down conversion on 44.5% of third downs. So people think, well, this whole stretch, like we could blow out the Colts, we could blow out the Jags, we could blow out the Titans. It's okay. The Titans are going to be a lot harder to blow out than the Jags. And obviously we did not blow out the Colts last week. So if you want to see, I'm not saying they were incapable of blowing out any other teams they play. I'm just saying these are your best chances to go out there and throw it on the table and say, we're a dominant offense in every facet. This is your opportunity.
Yes.
Incredible insight.
So true.
Well, with that, hopefully we're right this time. I feel like we kind of are just saying the same thing every week about this is going to be the blowout ever since the Lions game. We're like, we're going to blow out the Rams. We're going to blow out the Colts. Let's hope we actually do it this week.
Yes.